Welcome back to Toe the Line. My guest today is fighting at the inaugural Police Gazette International Cup on June the 25th. It's Dan McGraffin. Dan, how you doing?
Happening, yeah, man. Good, good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well, thank you. Let's talk about this upcoming fight you've got. The inaugural Police Gazette International Cup. You're fighting LT Nelson. How are you feeling about
It's a fight, isn't it? um, yeah, it's. I always want these big fights, me. So when um when I got, say, I initially wanted to fight in July because of the leg break. I didn't know if I'd be ready to start training straight away. And when I found out what it was for, this cup and who I could be, the names who were on the BYB side, I thought, I'm gonna have to get ready now. So literally one phone call with Jim and I was off with training. Thought this is the as much as I want to get back fighting, this is different. This isn't it. This sort of tournament's never been done. A lot of people are interested. So yeah, good fight.
Yeah, and this is huge, it's the first of its kind. And not only that, this is a huge fight in itself. LT Nelson, we know how good he is. He's one of the big names in BYB. And he's captain of the Americans,
Is he captain? Is he? Is that?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's sick, that isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah,
Take on fucking big man.
yeah, this is a huge fight. Does that kind of add any extra excitement or anticipation for it then?
Yeah, it does now. Knowing he's the captain, man. It did anyway because um, not just like just watch him fight. Bare knuckle is like some people say bare knuckle is for certain people. You get some boxers come over, they don't really handle it very well. You get some boxers come over and like, or some fighters come over, like Mike Perry, for example, and that it becomes their sport. I think this is definitely his sport. He's tough as fuck, he's durable, and that that was the name. The weight was the only issue. I didn't really want to. I fucking like to eat, me, mate. I like to eat, and I don't like dieting. So making the weight was the only issue. But I tried to get bigger fights, bigger weighted fights, and the names they were giving us were, no offense, but nobody's. And I thought, I don't want to be like mid card, undercard, like fighting. Do you know what I mean? I need these big fights. I need the big names, the big people. And I've watched loads of him, and just his resume alone of who he's beat from BKB. He's beat two champions, Ricardo Franco, some people's opinion, one of the best in the world, and Nathan De Castro. So he's beat two champions as it is. So he's on a roll with that, isn't he? He's just gonna come through, and I think he's gonna smash his way through me as well. But yeah, that's what switches me on. Like when I fought Lowell, I knew he could switch me off at any second. So that shoves something up my arse and gets me training. Do you know what I mean? It gets me focused.
Yeah, so yeah, and this is a huge challenge. We know what is it? LT has he's experienced in like seven fight disciplines or something like that. And have you watched a lot of him?
Everything, everything I can, everything. His glory stuff, his pro boxing stuff, all his BYB stuff, his MMA stuff. He's fought some names as well, He's fought some fucking big top people. But I've been one of my sparring partners for this camp, Will Goldie Galloway, big shout out, one bomb Will. He was top 10 for glory. He was like ranked number 8, 155. So he knows LT as well. He was kind of like, look, he's fucking tough, he's durable, and he will be there to the very end. He's like, but so long I've had him literally pulling me down, dragging me about the place, like proper K1 clinch stuff, just throwing me around the place, man. I've never been humbled so much because he's only a 55er and he's just thrown me about the place. So yeah, preparation for LT specifically has been good.
So there is a game plan then coming into this.
There's always a game plan. It's just whether or not I stick to it or not. Do you know what I mean? I think LT is going to come out and he's going to turn it into a fight, dog fight. He don't want to stand and box with us because he's not a boxer. He said that publicly himself. He's not a boxer, so he's not going to stand and box with us because it's not going to end nicely for it. I'm bigger than him. I'm longer than him. I mean, he hits like a truck clearly because look what he's done to Castro's face. And like, I've never seen anyone do that to Franco. Never. Like, he took one shot of Franco and he just Franco just couldn't recover at all. So he clearly does bang.
Yeah, and he's a tough guy. He's a bit of a brawler as well. I think that comes from the MMA background. He's less of like a technical, standard fight boxer. More he wants to
Yeah.
bring the fight to you, doesn't he?
Doesn't take a back foot. It doesn't take a back foot at all. He stands. He can be quite technical at times. You can see him sort of feinting and trying to like drag things out so he can get his shot, but he's very predictable and he's got a lot of flaws, mate. Like he squares himself off a lot. As he's coming forward, he always comes with a right, with a left, with a right, but he does the footsteps when he's doing it. And a lot of the times he's been put on his arse has been when he's doing that in the middle. Like the Castro caught him with a shot, Sam Liera caught him with a little flick of a shot and put him straight on his arse. But it's not because he can't take the shot. He's off balance with his feet. And I think if he gets in front of me like that, he'll be on his arse multiple times, multiple times.
And there's a few things at play here as well because what makes him different to a lot of the other fighters on the card as well is that he's fought in front of a London crowd before, so he's used to kind of having that go against him in a sense. Do you think that's going to make him a little bit more of a challenge than someone who hasn't fought in front of that London crowd?
No, I don't think in this game, if you're getting into bare knuckle, the least of your problems is the crowd. If you're an away fighter or what, I think the least of your problems is the crowd because it's brutal. I don't think about the crowd. I don't know if he does. He's a nice guy. I met him at the last London card. I sat to smoke with him and everything afterwards. He's a good lad. I've got his number on that. We've not been chatting, but he's a good lad. But I don't think the crowd will get to him at all. I don't think anything will get to him. I don't even think me being a bigger guy will get to him. I think he's that experienced. He's probably fought everyone and everything there is out there anyways. I don't think I'm going to be any different to what he's come across in the past. Do you know what I mean? He's come across boxers. I've watched him on Top Rank. I've seen him boxing on Top Rank. So he's come up against high-level boxers as well before.
And of course, it's BYB rules this time. So 3-minute rounds, the trigon, and punching in the clinch. How has your training kind of differed as opposed to a BKB card for this fight?
Yeah, well, the triangle didn't bother us at all because I'm better in smaller rings. Like when I was at the previous organization before coming to BKB, they had a 22-foot ring then. And I fought David round and he was just running round. I was fucking chasing. I was gassing out from chasing him. But as soon as you get in that BKB ring, it's tiny, that BKB ring. So that's why people getting put on their arse within 10 seconds because got nowhere to move. But in that triangle, it's even smaller. You've got nowhere to move even more. So that's going to favour us. The 3-minute rounds have never been done before. So that extra minute does separate the men from the boys as well. I'm telling you, it just to us, to a normal person, it's like, oh, it's only an extra minute, but 2 minutes is tough enough as it is, especially when like bare knuckle in like boxing. You don't know what it is, but you don't stop and figure them out or anything. It's just go. As soon as that bell goes for me in bare knuckle, it's like my first ever fight all over again. It's so strange. So the pace I set has been tough in camp to do for 3 minutes because I've always set a pace. I've always moved around. So that extra minute has been difficult in sparring and stuff like that. But I've lost a lot of weight now. I've lost a lot of weight. I'm going down in weight from what I last fought at. So I'm going down significantly, quite a lot to be fair. So that I'm feeling faster. My footwork, I feel so fucking right when I'm springing in and out because there's nothing on us anymore. And I'm thinking this is definitely it was lockdown. That's what happened. I ate loads of food during lockdown, and then I went up to cruiserweight and just become a fat fuck. But now I'm back down. I've went through the hard part of getting the weight off. I'm feeling as though I need to stick at this weight now, because I'm feeling fast, mate, very fast.
Yeah. And those 3-minute rounds, I guess, in a sense, it kind of goes against kind of your typical style because you're very high energy, very all out from the get-go. But I suppose with that extra minute, it adds kind of like you can't really afford to expend as much energy in those rounds, right?
That's what my coach said because I load up. He's like, do not load up. He says, because LT's the type of guy there, I could be beating him up for 5 rounds and he could get to the final minute of the round, and I switch off for a second, and he's going to capitalize on that. So I need to be on the ball. He's the one fighter where I'm going to have to be on the ball throughout the whole fight, like constant moving, constant footwork. Do not stand in one spot because he will. He's tricky with that. He's very like his technique is pretty much zero, which makes it harder to read what he's doing. I've been even my coach has been trying to like find his rhythm. How does he start his shots? What does he like to end on? Things like that. But he's just that wild. We can't figure him out. So
Yeah, it's like those shots come from anywhere.
yeah, because he like I said, he does. He's not a very like he's not a boxer, and he does that weird thing with his feet, which I think is stupid because if he gets caught on the inside, he's getting dropped, which happens all the time. But that's how he crosses the distance clearly, and he obviously hits hard enough that he's willing to take that step in just to fucking throw that big overhand. Like, and like we've seen De Castro's face, mate, that overhand right must be nasty because his face was out here, man. Like, and I know like it was a doctor's stoppage, but it was due to multiple overhand rights, like big ones.
Yeah, and that De Castro fight, De Castro is, you know, a fantastic fighter, and like seeing what LT did to him, that.
LT took away his boxing, got right in his face, didn't he? Just took it. De Castro's a good boxer, and he took it away. Didn't give him a chance to get the shots off. He did land like I don't think it was the right hand he landed because he likes to lead with an uppercut. LT, this is what we're catching as well. He likes to come like feint a couple of jabs and then come with this uppercut, and he leaves his chin wide open. I'll catch him when he does that. I'm too quick without sounding like a fucking arrogant dickhead. Like I'm far too fast for him to be making them kind of mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you think that trigon is gonna? I know we touched on it briefly about you're good in kind of like smaller spaces, but those acute angles, those corners are lethal, aren't they?
Oh, I know. We'll see. I'm looking forward to it. I've since they've done the whole teaming up thing, BKB and BYB. I've been saying to Jim since I'd love to fight in that triangle. I'd love to give it a go in there. It's like stand and bang, isn't it? Nowhere to go, nowhere to run. I don't like moving around. I've got good feet, but I like to stand and don't like people running away from me. That's the issue.
Yeah. And what about the punching in the clinch? Have you had to do much clinch work in this camp then?
That's why I've been getting him with Will Goldie Galloway, like just doing pure dirty boxing. Like he is, like I say, he was Glory top 10. So and he's strong, man. Just because he's a 55, I don't mean he's fucking so. His nickname's Willy One Bomb, and he bangs, mate. But fucking bangs. So he's been like fucking pulling me down, lying on his throwing uppercuts up from the side, like all sorts of stuff. And I believe that Will, the guy who's been my main sparring partner, he's a hell of a lot stronger than LT. He hits harder, like, and it's just all round better fighter. So I've had to deal with worse than what I believe LT's. The only difference is we've had gloves on, which is a big difference.
But I suppose kind of you're kind of prepared for everything then coming into this.
I want to get into a dog fight. I'm said to me, coach, you keep going to stand and box. And I said, I don't think I'm gonna. Like, I know what I'm like too much. I know I'll say it, oh, I'm gonna stand and box, and I don't. I just fucking get in. Something happens and I just go, right, let's fight. And I think that's what's gonna happen. He's gonna drag a dog fight, and I'm ready for it, man. I don't think De Castro knew what he was doing when it come to that clinch game. He didn't have, do you know what I mean? I'm prepared for that, mate. I'm well prepared for it. And I've come from before bare knuckle, I come from MMA. So I've got like a little bit, I don't want to say I'm a grappler. I'm far from a grappler, but I've got a tiny bit of grappling in us.
Yeah. How's your fitness like coming into this?
Fitness is good at the minute because I'm a lot lighter. I feel like my sprints, I feel like I've not been this fast since I was a kid. Honestly, like I feel really good. My diet's been on point. My diet's been the main thing because I've had to lose a lot of weight. So the more food, the better food I'm eating, the better I'm feeling as well. My fitness is fucking. I've had a lot of problems in this camp. I had a wisdom tooth got took out, and I couldn't spar for about 4 weeks. I all got infected, and everything. And my face was out. Yeah. So I couldn't really do any sparring. So while that was happening, all I was doing was cardio, just cardio. That's all I could really do was just. I knew, mate. He's from Colorado, LT. they're up there in the mountains, then, like about 5,000-6,000 feet above sea level. So he's no wonder he's so fucking fit. Like when I first watched that Sanliera fight for the 5-3s at the end of the fifth round, he was still continuing the same pace he had at the beginning of the fight. And that's when I was saying to my coach, I was like, he's fucking fit, him. I was like, he's really fit. And then when I looked into where he was from and everything, I thought, that's why he's so fucking fit. He's from up there, isn't he? Up in the fucking clouds. But that's been the biggest thing in my head, because I've gassed in a fight before, and there's nothing worse. There is, honestly, I'd rather be knocked out than to gas in a fight again, because you feel so hopeless and weak that you can't even do anything because you're so fucking tired and exhausted. And that battle's on my head. I thought there's no way he's outpacing me, because I'm that type of person. If he sets a pace, I'm setting a pace more. And he's a dangerous person to do that with. So I've had to have a high-paced camp, and it has been a high-paced camp. And like I say, I believe losing fucking stone and a half I've lost so far, losing that stone and a half has got me a lot faster and a lot fitter.
I suppose one thing that we don't really think about as fans watching it is staying mentally in the game with that extra minute as well. Because it's very easy to kind of, after 2 minutes, you're in the third minute and you're feeling a little bit tired. It's easy to kind of like mentally switch off.
Yeah,
Is there any kind of like work you've had to done to kind of stay mentally in the game as well as physically?
just hard sparring, mate. Because when you get clocked with something, you have to stay on. Some of the guys we've got in the gym sparring now, we've got this Latvian guy called Apfers, and like me coach makes him wear 20-ounce gloves. He's got them underneath the ring in case he ever forgets them. He cannot spar without these 20-ounce gloves, because he don't know how to pull his shots either. He's a big hitter. And when I spar people like that, I'm spending the whole time thinking about what's coming. Like, I don't even want to risk throwing a shot in case he catches me on coming in. It's just pure defense. So that for me sorts my mental shit out. But I also know that when I get in there and I get that adrenaline dump, because I get dead nervous, mate. I'm not asked to admit it either. There'll be plenty of people just like me. Like, just before the fight, I can't stop pissing. I'm pacing up and down. I'm proper nervous, mate, dead nervous. But as soon as I get in there and that bell goes, I get that adrenaline dump and everything goes. I don't even feel pain anymore. It's like, it's fucking so. When I got hit by Lerwell, I remember a big fucking lump here the next day. I don't even feel it. I don't feel nothing in there. It's fucking weird. Even when I broke my leg, but I felt that. I didn't like when I went down. It took me a while to realize like something was quite bad. Until I started trying to get back up, I was like, shit, this is fucking painful. This.
Yeah, let's get into that because that Lowell fight being your debut, probably one of the best debuts we've seen, in BBB to get the world title. And then suddenly it goes from kind of like you're up here and then suddenly you're down here in that Maxine Bellamy fight. How was that? Because you took a loss, but it wasn't really your fault. It just happened, right? So was that kind of hard to swallow?
No, it was, but it weren't also as well, because like you say, I didn't lose. So I lost the fight, but he didn't beat us. He didn't beat me. If you had to judge that 30 seconds of the fight, I'd have won that fight. You could see the way it was going anyway, like even just before the leg.
You knocked him down.
Yeah, but just after that as well, I hit him with a jab and I cut his head open, and you get these split thoughts in your head, like dead quick while you're in there, like. And I remember thinking every shot I'm hitting him with is doing something to him. I thought he's not lasting this round, and then boom, leg broke. Like, it was strange. But onto what you were saying about Lerwell, everyone was writing me off for that fight. Everyone, even my own supporters. Some of my own supporters were like, "Oh, at least you're getting in there, mate. Like, if you get knocked out, it's all right." And I was just like, that was the whole camp. I was just like so determined on stopping Lerwell as well and making a statement. I was everything. And then the Bellamy fight, I shouldn't have really went into the fight because I had like so many problems. I was in a motorbike accident the week before the fight, but I totally underestimated Bellamy. He obviously fucking can bang. As much as his defense is wank, he can obviously bang, because he did clock me with a shot, which has obviously made me buckle a bit. And then that's when my legs was broke. So when I watched it back myself and I seen it was due to a shot, so I thought, right, okay, I couldn't continue. He wins the fight. That's the name of the game. But he still don't believe he beat us. But when you say like onto the mental part of things, that's why I think I'm so mentally strong going through this fight, because of what I've already been through. I've already been through the Lerwell fight. I've already been through the leg break. I didn't think I'd fight again. I had all my tendons, but the surgeons were saying it'd be like 12 months before I was doing any kind of fucking sport. And it's not even been 12 months yet. Do you know what I mean? It was September. So I was on my arse for about 5, 6 months, couldn't really do anything. And I was in some dark places at the time. I was just smoking a shit ton of weed, fucking drinking a lot, like just sat on my laptop, just getting fucking fat. And that's why when I took this fight, I needed to know really early if I was definitely on the card. Like, so they didn't really start matching until like about 10 weeks before, but I got told about 15 weeks before, right, you'll be on this. Because if you want on, you can get on. And there's a cash prize for the winning team as well. So that was like a bit of a, yeah, go on then. Like, it's a fucking first ever like competition tournament thing. There's extra money to be won. I thought, yeah, go on then, I'll do this. So that was 15 weeks out. So I knew I had to have like a bit of a pre-camp to get some weight off before I started the actual camp. So I've been like mentally thinking of this fight for a while, and I'm in the fact that I'm fighting again is just the biggest fucking positive of it all. What the fuck happens in there, whatever. At least I can put the boots back on and step back in the ring and do it all over again.
Yeah, what was that like stepping back into the gym after everything that happened? Was it a kind of a bit like, were you a bit nervous, a bit of trepidation maybe?
It was because I snapped the tendon, so the bones are good, but the tendon, like, they take a long time to heal them.
Mm.
And I still get niggles to this day. But at the time, I'd be on the treadmill and I'd just be like walking on an incline or something, and after like 5 minutes, I'd have to get off. And I just kept thinking, how the fuck am I ever gonna do a training camp when I could only train for like half an hour max. I could barely do it. Even when I was trying to hit a bag, and I was just getting this niggle right up my fucking leg, constantly on like naproxen and anti-inflammatories and shit like that. And then round about March, I think I either just got used to it or I don't know, because it still niggles now. If I go on a long run or sprints, I can feel that at the end of some sprints. But that, like I say, that's expected. But yeah, I think I've just got on with it now. Like, realized I've got a torn rotator cuff. Yeah, happened in 2017. It still hurts now. So if I sit and wait for my leg to be fully healed, I'll probably never fight again.
Does that kind of fill you with a little bit of not anxiety, but like, is that something you're conscious of whenever you're fighting or whether you're training?
My leg.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm been putting boots back on and obviously sparring and stuff like that. And every time I'm putting the boots on, I do get a little bit of like sort of PTSD. Who knows? I might get it on the night of fighting, but there's only fucking one way to find out. In my head, all I kept saying was, I can't go out like that. I can't go from, like you said, bang, 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 out the British title at BFBA. I got European title at BFBA. Then I come over to BKB, and because of what I had achieved in BFBA, they put me in for a lot of people were like, how's he got a title fight on his debut? But Jim was like watching me in BFBA, and he seen me beat a guy called David Round. I don't know if you're aware of him, and he's had a draw with Lerwell before. They got a draw, so in his head he was kind of like, "Oh, this is like someone for Lerwell here." And then me and Lerwell had a little bit of banter online. As soon as I signed, they put it up saying Dan McGraffin signs with BKB, and Lerwell was like, "What weight is he?" And I was like, "Your weight." I was like, "Let's do this." And we sort of made the fight just like that. So, and I was never going to turn it down. But Jim was even like, do you want to get your foot in the door first and have a little free round?" I was like, "No chance." It's like straight in. Because of, like you say, what I had achieved, and then it come crashing down. I was sat there depressed, thinking, is that gonna be my last fight? Is that what? Not like when Prince Nazim got beaten, never come back again, and that's all anyone remembers now. Do you know what I mean? You don't remember a lot of people's losses, but when people just lose and never come back again, you never fucking forget that, do you? So I didn't want it to be Dan McGraffin broke his leg and never fought again. And I was having people tell me I'd never fight again. That was what I keep thinking of now. These people going, "You'll never fight again." And I'm thinking, are they right? Am I making a mistake going into this fight? But there's only one way to find out, isn't there? If I get hurt again, I get fucking hurt again. It's an occupational hazard, isn't it? Like, you can't go into a bare knuckle fight and not get hurt. If I get hurt, I get fucking hurt. It is what it is.
Yeah. With that leg injury, how bad was it? Like, talk me through like exactly what happened and how bad was it? Because watching it back, it was like almost you didn't realize what happened, and you looked at your leg and you can see the shock on your face there. You know,
Yeah.
what talk me through everything about that.
So when it happened, I thought I heard or felt something, but like I said, I didn't feel it. It like didn't hurt. So I've looked and I've seen it was like kind of the fucking one way around, and I just thought, I don't know what I thought, mate. I don't know what I thought, but I kind of put it back. I kind of put it back to where it was, and I don't know why, but I went to post on that leg to get up stupidly, because Jim said if I had got up and continued, if I got up from the shot and continued into the fight and then was like, oh, my leg, it would have been a no contest level because I didn't get up from the shot. It was caused by the shot, right?
Mm.
So, anyways, I've tried to get up, but as I've tried to get up, I felt like this elastic, like this snap. And that was obviously the tendon. So the surgeon even said, because they had the screen recording on my phone of the whole fight, he wanted to see the fight. So I showed him and he's like, right, okay, when you've tried to get up. Because he said this kind of injury only happens from people who fall from like high up, people who fall from height. Like this, the fact that like my foot was out of the ball of the socket. I can't remember the name of it now. So I broke the fibula, and then the ankle bone was snapped and it was like out of the socket. So it was like effectively just hanging on by skin because the tendon would have been what was keeping it on. And then I snapped that, and yeah, it was fucking. It weren't painful till about 3 o'clock in the morning. Went to the hospital, but it was too busy. And I ain't waiting in that. So we went back to the hotel. I had this makeshift cast on anyway, what the paramedics had put on. And I'm lying in bed, and about 3 o'clock in the morning, I started to feel sick. I had no painkillers and nothing. I started to feel like fucking super sick. Then we had to drive home the next day, back up north, and then straight into the hospital. And because it was so swelled, they couldn't even operate for a week. So I had to go back home, just have my leg elevated for a week, and then had surgery on it.
I know you said you struggled a little bit with that recovery process. What was that like?
The recovery, I didn't do anything, to be fair. I didn't do any physio or out like that. I just chilled, man. I just let it fucking heal, to be fair. Like didn't go anywhere. It weren't until January I started walking again. So I did just let it let it heal. But no, as of recovery and like fixing it, I just got back into training. That was literally it. I haven't done anything specific to fix it. It is still swelled, like it's massive in comparison to my other ankle. You can see how big it is, but it there's not what I can do about it now. Is it just crack on? But I don't feel I need any sort of specific help with it.
Do you think it's just one of those things that you just got to deal with at this point now?
Yeah, just fuck it, just deal with it. Like it, like I say, it don't really hurt. The bones don't hurt. It's just that if I do sprints and stuff like that, my tendon hurts. It just right. It comes from like up the back of my leg, right up the back of my leg, and I feel it like in my calf and stuff like that. Like, um, it's quite sore.
Do you still
But
feel it when you're sparring and stuff?
not when I'm sparring. No, not when I'm sparring. Just when I'm sprints or um, like an incline walk or stuff like that. I can feel it, but only after a while. Not straight away. It takes a while. But
Yeah.
it's not bothered us. To be fair, I probably worried about my tooth more than I did my leg. To be fair, because my face come out. Yeah, I actually pulled out the fight. I messaged Jim and I said, mate, I don't think I can fucking fight. My face was like fucking out. Yeah, and this was just about 2 weeks ago. Because obviously this wisdom tooth got. I wish I kept it in. Fucking, it was causing me drama, but not that much drama. I got took out and then it all infected and everything. But yeah, that's fine now. I pulled out and luckily he didn't say anything. He left it at that. And then a couple of days later, I was like, I'm back in. He's like, it's like I didn't say anything. I think he must have knew because I was on antibiotics and everything. I must have just been going through a fucking negative period that week. And then as soon as all that went down and I started like hitting myself in the face and then I started sparring and I was taking a couple of big left hooks and I was like, nah, I'm good. Let's go.
I feel like Jim's kind of gone through all of that before, where it's like he's had fighters pull out, and then next
Yeah.
day he'd be like,
Yeah.
I'm back in." Yeah,
Yeah.
I suppose with all these injuries and this kind of like there's like this narrative of like a comeback story that's been set up now. Does that kind of give you extra drive to get the win?
Yeah. Yeah, it does a little comeback story. It is a bit of a story though, but I'm not really thinking about it to be like that side of it. Maybe it's afterwards I'll start going, oh, look what I've done after my leg. And I'll probably start getting a bit cocky and arrogant about it, and like, yeah, fucking like brain come straight back and done that. But until the fight, you never know. It fucking touch wood, but it could happen again. Or like, do you know what I mean? I don't want to be, because that was quite a fucking chunk to my ego. That, do you know what I mean? That fight, I think that was like fucking humbling us a little bit. Like, fucking calm down. Do you know what I mean? Like, thinking what I'd done to Lurwell, I was like, well, I'm one of the best, me. I'm there, and then that goes and happens, and it just shows you that anything can happen. Do you know what I mean? He was probably technically the easiest fight for us. He was wide open, chin in the air, like throwing shots like that, and then I go and break my leg to the point I can't continue. So, kind of a bit of a calm down moment. So I
Yeah.
won't think too far ahead of LT at the minute. I'll just wait till after the fight and then get a bit mad.
Yeah, with these kind of past fights, the last two fights we've seen you in BKB, we can see how kind of like energetic you are in the ring. You're very like bouncy, you're light in your feet. With these 3 minute rounds and the changing rules, and in light of this injury as well, are we
Yeah.
expecting to see something different, on June 25th?
No, I think you're going to be shocked more. You're going to see something that no one's seen from us before. No one's even seen what I can do yet, because my fights haven't lasted long enough. And the David Round fight, that's the longest one I've got. But I broke my hand in like the first exchange we had. You can kind of see my hands down and I'm right hand leading a lot. So even that's the longest fight you can watch of me. And this, you still can't take away anything from it that I can actually do. The only people who've seen it properly are the ones who sparred us. So if this goes 5 rounds, 5 3 minute rounds, 15 minutes, you're gonna see you're gonna get just dog. You're gonna see like a totally technical Dan McGraffin. Like show how like diverse I can be as well. If he wants to get in, if he wants to stand and box sound. If he wants to get in, which I'm ready, which I'm more prepared for. If he stands and box with us, I'll be fucking shocked. And I'll be like, oh, because we hadn't had as much as I do all the boxing and that on the pads, everything we've been doing sparring, my coach has been like, get on him, get in his face, fucking pull him about. Like, so that's what I'm more prepared for is a dogfight. Getting on the inside, big high guard, and just literally I've just been working on letting nothing get through with the MMA gloves on, just tucking right up, letting nothing come through, and just countering. I'm an aggressive counter fighter. You just haven't really seen much of it. You saw a little glimpse of it in the Lurwell fight when I was drawing his shot out of him and then getting out the way because he's a counter fighter. So I was trying to counter his counter. That only went about a minute and a half, so you didn't really see much of that either. But you will on this one. You'll see some. I think a lot of people will be shocked after this fight.
Yeah, and I think generally in bare knuckle fights, it's very rare that they go the distance, but even more so specifically in BYB, hardly any of those fights go the distance.
No.
Do you think it will? Do you think you'll get the early knockout? Do you think it will last the 5 rounds?
I ain't looking for a knockout, mate. I'm not, because if I gas out, he's going to capitalize on that and hurt us. And as we've seen in the Sandliera fight, he was there to the end, and he nearly stopped him at the end of the fifth round. He nearly, if there was another minute on that round, he'd have stopped him. So he carries that power to the very end. So I'm not looking for a knockout. I do think I'll tag him early a lot, and I'll probably put him on his arse a few times. He'll get straight back up again. But I think as the rounds go on, he's a slow starter, him. So ideally, I should try and get him out of there in the first 3 rounds. But I don't want to, like I say, gas myself out or look for no. When you look for knockouts, they don't come. I didn't look to stop Lurwell. I thought we were going 7 rounds, and it comes. So just let my body do what it does on the night. Let
Yeah.
it just react how it's going to react. I can't even tell you what I'm going to do, because as soon as that bell goes, it's going to be it's the roller coaster of emotions. So I can't even like explain. Hopefully, I do stay calm and listen to my coach. But past experience, I've just went for it. Like I shouldn't have done that with Bellamy. If I stayed at distance with Bellamy, I could have boxed him off. But instead, I got right in his fucking face and just started swinging with him, and then got caught in the process.
Yeah, I think it'll be good to see you kind of in the longer rounds and see how you fare with like those just in a longer fight, because we've seen you in your fights and they end quite quickly. So I suppose it's a side of you we haven't seen, and that works in your advantage because LT hasn't seen that as well.
No, he hadn't. I've seen everything he's got to offer. Everything. I can't imagine he's changed any much than what I've seen. Seen he fought that Luis Pena who was on. I think he was on the Ultimate Fighter, or maybe it might have been in the UFC at one point, in an MMA fight just 3 months ago, and he beat him. He beat him as well, and he's fucking good. Like he does get beat up for like a round or two, and then he's very slow. He needs to get through his gears. And lucky for him, he's durable and tough. So he's gonna be able to take the shots. I do believe he is going to be able to take my shots.
Yeah. Just to end, have you got a message for LT going into this?
Nah, I am. I like him. You know, I am. I do like to have a bit of animosity sometimes with him because it makes me want to fucking really hurt them and get in there. But I've met him. I like him. I think his manager's an absolute cock. So that's a bit of like incentive to fucking hurt him, just to shut his manager up because he's a prick. But other than that, LT sound, like I say, I've met him. He's sweet. Got nothing to say to him. Apart from see you on Sunday the 24th, mate.
Nice. That's Dan McGraffin. He's fighting LT Nelson on June 25th in the inaugural Police Gazette International Cup. Cheers, Dan.
See you later, mate.